What looks like a simple tree can actually be much more complicated. And like a mighty iceberg, what is below the tree, what is underground, can be just as meaningful. We see below roots that are unchanging. And as the seasons come and go, and the leaves turn their magical colors, the roots remain underground, the same, a permanence of the tree that remains. And for me in my Judaism, my roots are Jewish food. And for the first 18 years of my life, there wasn't a lot to Judaism except that I knew there was always latkes and bagels and that food. And as I go out in the world and try new experiences and practice my Judaism in new ways, the one constant is always that Jewish food, one of my roots. Another important aspect of the tree is that it doesn't sprout whole from the earth. It needs to be watered. It needs to be nourished. And for me, that first little drop, that first little spark that turned that dormant seed that had sat for 18 years waiting to grow was college. And joining the Jewish fraternity. And all of a sudden my Jewish tree began to grow. And when you ask someone to draw a tree, you say, "Show me what a tree is." They draw a little line across the page to mark the earth. And above that, they draw a magnificent tree, a mighty oak, with giant branches spread out in the air full of leaves. And below that line, they normally draw nothing. Although we now know what is below there, what is so meaningful, we can't quite connect it to the tree. And I too have parts of my life that are very important to me, but I've not yet connected to my Jewish tree. And maybe one day that picture I draw will have all of those parts as well. And I will know how they fit into my Jewish tree. And when mighty winds blow and the tree shakes, not too much shaking. I made a huge mistake. And it almost topples over. Almost. It is the roots that keep it in place. The roots that hold it sturdy. The roots below ground that give the tree so much of its strength. So much with my Judaism. Do I find something that can give me strength? And I know when the mighty wind blows that I will not topple over. Because when in your war against the city, you have to besiege it a long time in order to capture it, you must not destroy its trees. You may eat of them, but you must not cut them down. Because humans are trees of the field as well. And these roots I show you are just a representation. While the real roots of the trees, they branch and they divide. They fork and they change. They're the subtext of the tree we least understand, that which we try to grasp. So is it many times with my Jewish humor. A Jew was walking on a street in Berlin when he accidentally brushed against a black-shirted stormtrooper. Swine, roared the Nazi. Actually, it's Epstein, said the Jew. And as magnificent as this tree may be, and the trees out in the fields that we see, they require constant nourishment, water, loving care. As it is for all of us, we must care for those roots and make sure they keep the tree strong, and engage in those experiences to give nutrients to our own roots so that our Jewish tree may grow. And as we finally see that tree standing there, we appreciate the top half. But it's not the part of the tree that undergoes experiences. It's just out there in the air. It has nothing to touch, nothing to feel. It's the roots that are able to hug the soil, that actually make contact with the world. As I find my own way to make contact with the Jewish world. Andy Noah Rad, JCSC Fellow, St. Louis Hillel at Washington University. And when the tree is gone, maybe it's our Jewish tree, or the Jewish tree of our relatives, we can always be confident that those roots of our Jewish identity will still remain.